Alright, so I know I'm a couple days late on this, but we finally got some more information about Anomaly Arbitration, which is going to be the newest endgame mode coming to Honkai Star Rail. So today I want to go over all the info we have so far so that we are all prepared for when this mode drops at the beginning of 3.6, or at least I'm pretty sure it's at the beginning of 3.6. But let's jump right in here. So this is going to be a brand new endgame mode, and they start out immediately here showing the requirements here, because unlike Memory of Chaos and the other existing endgames, it isn't something that's just oh, you rank up enough and then you automatically get there. Not only do you need to have a Equilibrium level 6 or higher, but you also need to have achieved full star records for the last stage of Memory of Chaos, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow. And they don't all have to be within the same version, you just have to have done these once within the lifespan of your account. So this isn't just a endgame where it's just you rank up high enough and you can just do it. You do need to show that you can do the other endgames here, which is kind of cool, I think, for players who have been doing the full clears for endgame for multiple patches. So this is definitely very good as well to be an extra kind of endgame that we can do. So now to go into this little intro here. Anomaly Arbitration is a permanent high difficulty challenge updated once per version. So once per version there, pretty solid. Hopefully it'll be just at the beginning of every version going forward, because that'll be a cool thing to do at the beginning of every patch in addition to the main story. It'll consist of 3 night trial stages and 1 final king and check stage, and complete these stages within a set number of cycles to clear the challenge. So it is cycle based, that is good to know as well. In the night stages, Trailblazers must form 3 teams to take on the trials in any order. In the king and check stage, Trailblazers can use a team of any characters. This is the type of endgame I've really been looking forward to for Star Rail, because Zenless Zone Zero has something very similar with the Deadly Assault mode where you are having to form 3 separate teams. It doesn't have the one final fight like this one does, but games making you form 3 teams is really nice, especially as someone who's been playing a game for a while, because it's going to make me use more of my characters. And that is always something that's really nice, and also is going to make the whole supports or some of the most important characters in Honkai Star Rail even more of a reality, because you are going to have to build 3 teams if you want to get through this mode here. They also say here that the knights will continuously channel energy to the king piece. It's recommended that Trailblazers clear all night stages first to cut off the energy supply before facing the powerful king and check stage. So with this, I feel there'll probably be some people who will try to see if they can get it clear without clearing these stages, because I feel with the way that it's saying it's recommended and not required to do the night stages first, you could probably try to just defeat the king in check without any real without doing anything else besides fighting the king for a higher difficulty kind of thing, which could be interesting. I'm not sure if I'll do that right off rip, but definitely would be an interesting concept as well if they just give you the option of fighting the king in check, which it seems for the first one it is going to be against a Lygus boss, which is pretty cool. Next up here, after each period of Anomaly Arbitration updates, several arbitral quadrant buffs will be added to the king and check stage. Before challenging the stage, Trailblazers can select one suitable buff effect to enhance the team's overall strength. So very similar to your Pure Fiction buffs, your Apocalyptic Shadow buffs. So, and it will just be for the king and check stage, meaning that there probably aren't any buffs for those night stages, so that is also important to keep in mind. And of course they don't give us any sort of readable text on these for what the buffs will be, but of course they're going to change them every time, so it is likely going to be catered towards the new characters for that version, which is typical Hoyoverse endgame strategy, so that is something to keep in mind there. So, and considering what we know about Evernight and Herman Sortere Dan Hung, we're probably going to see some stuff about memo sprites for Evernight, and then we're probably going to see some stuff for maybe shields for Dan Hung, but we'll see once we actually get the Anomaly Arbitration stuff in game. Then we have enemy traits here, which is also very similar to Apocalyptic Shadow. In each period, the enemies in the night stage and the king and check stage will possess 1 or more traits. I assume it's not going to be a difficulty selection thing like Apocalyptic Shadow, but it's more so going to be that the knights may have 1 or 2, and then the king and check will always probably have 3, like Lygus has 3 right here. And this is really cool to me because my favorite part about Apocalyptic Shadow is the new enemy mechanics, because I think it really just gives you a breath of fresh air. And I think that if they're going to have separate mechanics in this stage too, That's going to be really cool. So hopefully they can make some really cool fights for this, especially since it is only a once per version update kind of mode. So we do love to see that there. Now for the rewards, which I know is always an important thing. And I actually think they did a pretty good job with these rewards, but let's take a look here. So it says to participate in Anomaly Arbitration to obtain limited time avatar frames, new store token Lone Stardust, new relic item interference key, and self-modeling resin. Now, first things first, I want to talk about this interference key because this item, they have it right here. This is actually a really cool item, and I think it's nice because this mode is sort of like extra content for people who are able to comfortably clear the regular endgame and just gives us another thing to do in a game, which I think is always good. But we're getting an item now that's going to make our quality of life as players who can already clear the endgame a lot easier, where it's whenever you're using the variable dice, you can also use the interference dice to block one of the substats from receiving any buffs by, you know, rearranging the buffs from the variable dice. So that's going to allow you to make it a lot easier to get better quality pieces if you have one bad substat, because then you could just block that one substat from getting any bonuses. So that's going to be really good, and I think it's something that a lot of players are going to benefit from, you know, assuming that they are able to get to the Anomaly Arbitration mode here. Then based on the number of night stages cleared and star ratings achieved, you can claim varying amounts of self-modeling resin, also very good there, and Lone Stardust as well, which is going to be for a new shop that we're going to talk about in a moment here. So it looks like there's a 3-star, 6-star, and 9-star ratings, depending on... I assume these are based... Yeah, these are based on the night stages. So each one will have a 3-star criteria, probably based on cycles, which is the way they kind of put it. So... But we'll see the full requirements once it's actually in game. Well, actually, we'll probably see them in a couple days with the creator experience. And based on the ratings you achieve in the King and Check stage, you'll be awarded limited time avatar frames, which it seems like you'll only be able to use it during the current version, which they're pretty much just like for like bronze, silver, and gold, just to show like your completion. So you probably do have to like re-get them every version, which I guess is fine because you aren't really going to like I feel like for players who are going to be doing this, like they're going to do it every version, right? So like I feel like it's not too big of a deal that you have to get them every version. Maybe if they made like a slight difference in them to show like, oh, this is for like the Anomaly Arbitration for 3.6 specifically, like having a version number on there and letting you use them all the time, but to each their own for that. I'm not really too pressed about it in all honesty. And you'll be able to claim a varying amount of the Lone Stardust currency and also an interference key. So just by getting even 1 star, you get the interference key, which I think is also really good. Because even if you can beat, you know, MOC, Pure Fiction, and Apocalyptic Shadow to unlock this, but this mode ends up being too difficult for where your account is right now, it is still not too bad to get the interference key. So that is also very good as well for those rewards. And again, these are once per version, both for this. So we get 3 extra self-modeling resins per version, and we get an interference key per version. So that is really good as well. Next up for the shop here as well, for the Lone Stardust. After the 3.6 update, a new store Gift of Stardust will open, where we can use Lone Stardust to exchange for the Pet Complainer, which people do like the pet, you know, things in the games, so you know, that's cool. I'm not like the craziest about like any like cosmetic kind of things for the most part, besides like character skins, so for me, it's kind of whatever, but I can see why people will like this as well. We also are going to get a new pom-pom outfit. There's going to be extra avatars, a name card, and other items, and they're going to update it over time here, which I think is cool. Definitely cool to add some more cosmetic stuff, but like, come on, Star Rail, we got to get some more skins, and actually good skins too, because this game has kind of been lacking in that, which is kind of crazy to me. But then finally, on the last page here, so how to obtain Lone Stardust, they're also going to put it into the new like endgame shop, or the newer endgame shop. Kind of the light cone shop, and then there's the like secondary shop here. They're gonna put in this shop as well, which refreshes whenever MOC refreshes. So that'll be good. So you can get your self-modeling resin. You can get some extra Lone Stardust if you want to get some more of the cosmetic stuff. So that is cool as well. And finally, from the beginning of 3.6 until the end of 3.7, they are giving us an extra bonus, like login bonus of 1 interference key and a certain amount of Lone Stardust and Jade Feather, which is going to be pretty cool as well to get an interference key for free. The other stuff is cool for those shops, but I think the interference key is the biggest value thing there. But that is everything that we have right now for Anomaly Arbitration. This mode does seem pretty cool. I am really excited to try it when it drops. But I'd love to see what you all think in the comments down below. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed and want to see more content from me, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But with that, everyone, I will see you all next time.